Thanks for joining us, Fraser. First of all, what did Matthias Killam have to say about the evacuation?
Okay, well, just to back up for a sec, I guess, of course, as we've talked, the federal government anyway has been talking about, the Trump tariffs and the One Big Economy Act. It's all been the economy. In the background, of course, we have these wildfires that are affecting a lot of First Nations this summer, right? And, one of them, of course, is Matthias Killam Cree Nation here in northern Manitoba that's now been out of their community in order, I think, about more than 3 months. It's a long time, and so they're getting frustrated. And I think what's at issue is they held this emergency press conference this morning that they want to get back in the community and they need power. The power line's out, and they want to buy a $8 million generator so they can return. And in the meantime, in these 3 months, they've had, members have lost. They can't have proper funeral services, obviously, because they're not there. And also they're worried about the infrastructure there. The longer it goes into winter, what's going to happen? Pipeline, things freeze and that. So, but they recently received a letter from ISC, Indigenous Services Canada, saying that they believe it's Manitoba Hydro that should pay for these generators. So they're very frustrated, obviously, and it's kind of, I thought it was a bit ironic as they were having this emergency press conference. There was a pre-recorded statement being played in the main assembly from ISC Minister Manny Galmasti. So it just kind of shows maybe the government's a little bit out of touch, perhaps, or they feel anyway, with some of the major issues going on the ground, and that really is the wildfires affecting First Nations continues to across all of Canada.
Mm-hmm. And what came out of the discussion on repatriation of historical artifacts?
Well, as we know, these artifacts, First Nations artifacts, are like all over the place, right? Some of them are in the Vatican in Rome. Some of them are at the now shuttered Hudson Bay Company or in possession, and also some of them are over in the Museum of History that is over in Gatineau, Quebec. And so what they want to avoid is having them auctioned off, or they're rightfully First Nations artifacts, right? They should be returned to the communities, and there's no real national strategy on this, which is needed. And so right now it's really a lot of local communities that are kind of taking the lead, and they hire sort of people to look into this, various people, experts, but they really don't have the money or not even the expertise to do this, and they want a federal strategy that aligns with the United Nations declarations on the rights of Indigenous people to do this. And so we heard from Terry Teague, Regional Chief of BC, this morning on that, and it's a pressing issue.
And finally, what's ahead for this afternoon?
Well, what's ahead, of course, is it has to end at some point, and it's supposed to end at 2 p.m. There's not a lot of resolutions still that haven't been. I think I counted. I had to go to this press conference, but 4 or 5 they were kind of got through yesterday. So there was about 50, on the card. So they're probably not going to get to all of them, but people have to leave. The chiefs have to go back to their communities and fly in. So we'll see how that ends. And there's supposed to be the final closing remarks from National Chief Cindy Woodhouse-Neepanak, and then they'll close.
Well, we'll have to end it there, but thanks again for joining us, Fraser, and we'll have more coverage of the final day of the Assembly on tonight's news.